Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. Welcome back to another episode of the CFTV preview show, the Chelsea Fan TV preview show, with myself and Kev as well. Good to see you, Kev. I think we are both in agreement. This is the biggest preview show that we have done since we've been on this channel together. And, we go into this final against Liverpool with some optimism. I mean, that's a nice surprise.
Yeah, just what a roller coaster of events that we've been through this year. Just doesn't stop, doesn't it? Being a Chelsea fan, like you just don't know where you have to put your mind. Like 1 minute we're losing back-to-back games, getting thrashed. The next minute we at Villa Park scoring worldy free kicks and going and getting draws at the best team in the world, getting a draw there, and like the whole of it. The last couple of years has been a roller coaster of events, but we're here at another final going to Wembley. And to be honestly, I never thought we'd be sassy funchy right now talking about a final at Wembley, but the games that we've had going into the final, only Newcastle have been a team which could have caused us problems. So it's been a kind of an easy run for us. But with that in mind, obviously you still got to beat the teams in front of you, and that's what we've done. So we're here, we're going to Wembley, and it's the biggest preview show that we've had, and it's a massive one. Wembley Sunday, up the charts.
Absolutely, mate. And I think it's interesting. I mean, talk to me. I mean, you said earlier that you you didn't think we can get to Wembley this season. I mean, why is that?
Really think there's the oppositions and the other teams in the league and in the leagues and how they're doing, like your Arsenals, your Cities, Liverpool's, Newcastle, Tottenham's, Man U. There's a bunch of other teams that are doing better than us at the moment. But to be fair, like I said, the draw was kind to us. A couple of those big guns faced each other and knocked each other out. And the only team that really, like I said, that we faced, which is any competition, was Newcastle. But Blackburn, Preston. We've had was it Wimbledon we had as well. We've had easy games. It's been good to us.
You've still
So
got to go out there and win, though,
yeah, yeah,
right?
of, of, of course, you've got to go.
Brighton, we had Brighton as
Right,
well.
Brighton, yeah,
Winning was a
Brighton,
good
yeah,
win.
yeah, yeah. But Brighton, which but there was injury struck in at the time, but yeah, we went out and beat them. But the draw has been kind to us. You have to admit that, and we're in a position where we can go and get some silverware. And I know 100% now of those lads this week. I know what they're thinking. They're thinking this is the time now to turn things around. And you know, a lot of them players in that group haven't won anything in their life. So what are opportunities for them to go and get the hands on the trophy, get that winning mentality, because they're in a winning club, but they need to feel that, even Poch himself as well, they need to understand the DNA of this club and that we're a winning club. And from when they win that game, hopefully that can push them on now to win other titles in the future.
Absolutely, Kev. Before we move on to the next segment of the video, we're just going to quickly give a shout out to the sponsors of the channel. Guys, if you are a regular viewer of this channel, I would be very, very surprised if you haven't seen Match Bingo or if you haven't heard of Match Bingo. All right. But if you haven't seen them, let me very quickly explain. Okay. It's bingo with a twist. Okay. So rather than having numbers, you play with in-match, I don't know, stats, if you want to call it that. So rather than having numbers like 1, 12, or 20, you would have yellow cards, offsides, and goals. Okay, and that's how you cross out your lines. The more lines you cross out, the more money you win. Guys, I highly recommend this. We've got a big game coming up, obviously, in the Carabao Cup Final. If you are not big into gambling, all this sort of stuff, this is probably a nice way to do it, because ultimately it is luck. You don't have to be, you don't have to have the best IQ in the world to make this work. It's just a little bit of fun with your mates while the match is on. Okay, so my recommendation, click the link down below. Check it out. We had Darren, who was on the channel last week. He sent me a message saying he won £25. Hopefully, you guys can win a little bit more. All right, it goes up to 175 quid. So if you can win more than Darren, let me know. Click the link in the description. Use our link. It does show Match Bingo that the channel are helping, and it helps the channel as well. But yes, Kev, let's move on, mate. Always good to give a shout out to the sponsors, but we'll just move on. Now, I remember we were speaking before we started actually recording about the injury situation, and you've got that all noted down. I mean, so talk to me about this situation, and do you really think that we go into this game, with an advantage over Liverpool? Because the media seem to be pinning this out as if Liverpool aren't the favourites, and we're not the underdog, which I find crazy.
Well, when you look at their starting lineup yesterday, I think I sent you the message on WhatsApp at the time, and that's when there was 1-0 there, and obviously they came back and won 4-1, which was expected. With any Liverpool team. For me, the injuries will set them back a tiny little bit, but Liverpool play the same way regardless. I think they're well drilled. I think Klopp, he knows what he's doing, but it's more okay. It's not like for like with them. They haven't got a massive squad, but they've got players that can do a good job. And obviously, when we played at Anfield, they had key men out in that game. And look at Bradley running down, scoring himself his first goal for the club. Yesterday, the team wasn't the strongest team on paper. Massive players out. I think they had Elliott right wing.
Talking about the Luton game, yeah.
Yeah, I guess Luton. So they had Endo in the hole. They had Bradley, and they had Joe Gomez left back. So obviously they've got the final in mind. Rested key players. The players that are out, they've got some massive players out. So you're talking about Salah is 50-50. He's going to have a late fitness test. You've got Trent, who's been definitely ruled out. You've got Curtis Jones been ruled out. Diogo Jota's going to be out for 3 months, apparently. Alisson's a massive one as well for what he does for that back line and the confidence he gives Van Dijk. Canute is going to be coming back fresh from an injury. They've got Thiago Alicante out. Nunes is out. And they've got Salbazzi out. So they've got all the key players out. But with that in mind, I still believe that they'll play the same way. I don't think they'll want to change the way they play. So it suits us in two ways, really, because they won't change the way they play. They'll be weakened. That means the way we're going to play, which we know the counter-attack, which we said in the first preview show against Liverpool, which we should have done. If executed properly, I'm sure we'll get joy of it, because at Anfield, we didn't do it. But against City on the weekend, that's exactly what we've done. And look, we were the better team. If you ask me, who was the world and European champions, I couldn't tell which was what. So fair play to the lads, but can we go and do the same thing against Liverpool? I think if we sit in our two bags of four like we did, sit deep, dig deep, and then counter it. So press them when we need to, but don't press stupidly. Just press when we need to, and then once we get the chance, just break quickly, get down the flanks, and I'm sure we'll get some joy, because they're there for the taking.
No, I think it's very similar to Man City, isn't it? There's going to be spaces, but I don't think there's as much space against Liverpool as there is with Man City. They don't strike me as a team that are as open. And I would say that Liverpool are more energetic than City. So I think when it comes to losing the ball, they're probably a little bit better. I think the way they press and counter press, they're very, very good. Jurgen Klopp sides always are good in that sense. But if we could dominate the midfield, get possession of the game and keep control, we can be in a position to try and hold Liverpool off. But, they're great on the counter as well. But we want to count on the fact that they don't have a lot of their key players, so that if they do manage to pinch the ball off us, they won't be able to take their chances. Because even in the game against Liverpool at Anfield, when they won 4-1, it's very convincing. But they did miss a lot of chances, Kev. And to think that was with a lot of their best players. So, Jota's out, Nunes is out, a lot of these players are out, Szoboszlai's out.
Salah's out potentially as well. So.
There you go. So you're saying who's going to finish that chance? And for me, in a cup final, it's a different game. and you want your most experienced players. So you've got a lot of players that have been on the bench for the majority of the season for Liverpool, now coming into the limelight. How are they going to cope with the pressure? I mean, don't get me wrong. You'd say the same thing about Chelsea's players, but the difference is a lot of these boys have been in the limelight. They've been under the pressure. Whether they've coped is another question, but they've had the time to adapt to it. So now is the time to really come together. Why did you sign for Chelsea? Everyone says the same thing, Kev. We want to win trophies. Well, here's your chance, boys. Here's your
Massive.
chance.
And the thing is, we've got we have not made any excuses all season because we become used to having 11 injuries. We've had 11 injuries for 2 years, so we're used to it. So I know Liverpool cannot come with this excuse because when you look at the injuries that we've got as well, we've got James, we've got Thiago Silva, we've got Lavia, we've got who else we got out?
We got loads of players out, but even if you look at our defence, for example, James is out. I'm so happy with Gusto. And then you've got Silva. I want to see Disasi and Colwell, and then at left back, Chile, he plays better in a back four, in my opinion. He'll have the cover from Caicedo. Hopefully Enzo drops a little bit deeper as well. For me, a Gallagher, he's earned his way into the starting 11. Very questionable at times, but recently has picked it up. And ultimately, the whole team has picked it up. I mean, there's no question, when you look at the past few results we've had, you could certainly question some of the performances. But since we lost to Wolves, I mean, we beat Villa away in the Cup. That was an exceptional result. We played well. And then we managed to get a result against Palace when we didn't play well, which I think deserved just as much credit in itself. And a 1-1 draw against Man City as well. People don't give that enough credit. They criticise Pochettino for not winning that game. I'm sorry. Anyone that thought we were going to win that game and then criticises Pochettino for getting a draw, I don't understand that logic, right?
The thing is, everybody just wants to glorify stuff, and everyone's living in this little fantasized bubble. Like, we've gone to City and got a draw. That's massive for us, considering where we were only 2 weeks ago. When we lost against Wolves, it was toxic. It was disgusting. It was like the world was going to end. Everyone was getting posh banners ready, including myself. And the meeting I had on the Monday prior to the Villa game, something clicked and changed. And it's just a different Chelsea now. The energy has come back into this team. And obviously, it should have come to having a meeting on a Monday prior to a game for them to get into action. You win the Carabao Cup Final. You still got Europa League places to play for. Furthermore, you're playing for Chelsea Football Club. This is you should be, every time you step past that white line, that should be all the energy that you need. You should have to have a meeting with your manager. But obviously, something's clicked. We've got it right. The last 3 games have been a massive turnaround. If we go and beat Liverpool, this can now be the start of the new project. I believe this is the start now because we are there now. We can all believe in the process and be like, you know what, we've gone and won something. And I even myself, I'll be like, you know what, all the Posh out talk, I'll believe, you know what, Posh deserves more time. Like I said, I'm not wishy-washy right now. As we speak, I still believe Posh hasn't done well. He hasn't. No. Posh hasn't done enough yet to suggest
even
to
if
me
he
that
loses
he needs
the
time.
final, he should not be sacked.
That's your opinion. But we've got to look at the hard facts, Alex. We are 10th place. We've had a very poor season. We've got to a Carabao Cup final, but we've had a very, very easy run. Is this acceptable standards for a £1 billion team? Regardless of injuries, it's not acceptable, brother. So I am not going to jump.
But we're not looking at a £1 billion team, are we? We're looking at £1 billion of potential, right?
No. We still spent a bit potential, or whatever you want to call it. We've still spent £1 billion, and it's proven
that's not Poch's problem. That's the owner's problem.
It's proven. It's proven that this team is not a 10th place team. Just because of his last 3 performances, proven that he could have got more out of this team prior to the Villa game. But he was too pragmatic in the way he set us up. He was too play at the back, too sideways and backwards. And now, obviously, the lads want to get the ball at the pitch. They want to get in the area. They want to score goals. It's a lot more different. And that's down to the manager telling them, it's time to change the way we play. And it shouldn't have taken him up to a thrashing against Wolverhampton Wanderers to get it right.
No, I think that Pochettino definitely got things wrong. I agree with that. But I also think that the fact that he doesn't want Maatsen, you've got to respect it, right? He doesn't like him, don't play him. That's why he played Colwell at left back. It's obvious. And the fact that he played Colwell at left back, even though people didn't like it, he gave Colwell game time. Ultimately, people don't like the fact that he was out of position, but he had the game time, which is more important than being on the bench. Ultimately, even Colwell's going to say, "I'll take that. All right, I want to play for Chelsea." You're not going to say no to that. And then with Enzo, he played him up front a little bit too much, close to the 9. He needed to be deeper. But these two things have changed, and the results have changed. I would say that the Enzo one is a little bit more clear in my eyes. I don't know why he didn't change that earlier. But he has, and for me, a manager needs as much time to get to know the squad as the squad needs to get to know him, if not more time, because there's more players than there is a manager, right? There's only one manager, and you got 22, 25 players in your squad. So, he's played around, he's tried different things with different players. Now we know what works. I'm not expecting a tactical masterclass from Pochettino. I would probably expect something similar to what we've seen against Man City, where we start the game off well and then make silly substitutions in the match that kill our momentum. That's actually what I would expect. But if the players have enough about them, even with those substitutions, they'll be able to hopefully hold on for at least a draw, go into extra time, and we'll be looking to win this in a penalty shootout, Kev. I mean, I'll be realistic. Me personally, I'd be predicting 1-1, Chelsea to win on penalties. I believe that these injuries are going to be a big issue for Liverpool. I think they're going to struggle to penetrate us. I think if we're too open, we're going to kill ourselves. But I don't think we're going to be too naive. I think we're going to try and attack, but I think Liverpool will as well. All right, so I think it's going to be up and down.
A quick question about this: where do you believe Liverpool's weak spots will be during the game? How do you think we can get at them? Obviously, you said they won't be able to penetrate us, but how can we get at them? Do you think it's down the wings? Obviously, with Canute and Van Dijk, if you're playing Cole Palmer, the false number 9, there's no point hoofing it long because he's not going to win in the air. How do you believe we can get, and where do you think we can get at them and get the goals?
Well, I think with Liverpool, it's very similar to City, isn't it? That there are spaces, and they like to push their fullbacks up the pitch. So you want to look in between the centre backs and the fullbacks. Yeah. If we're looking, I think Sterling's, he's probably going to start this game. I think it's still questionable, to be honest with you, because you see one good game with Sterling and you see 5 crap games. And this is not the good game because we just had our good game with Man City. So, I'm still not convinced with Sterling. He was class against City. He's been rubbish this season. He was rubbish last season. I don't want to see him.
It just needs to get the energy back, doesn't he? Like it was there against City, but the thing is with Sterling, I don't like to criticise the guy because
you don't like to criticise
as much as he hasn't been the best. I still believe he's our best player.
He's our highest paid player and our biggest.
He's our best player. He's our best player. But
paper.
It just needs to get that consistency. Don't put him going and doing what he did against City and him having a stinker against Liverpool. We want to see a run of games now where he's putting in his.
Do you think he's going to do that? That's the real question.
I don't think he's had nearly 2 seasons now and he hasn't done it. So,
well, there you go.
The question's there. But obviously, with that in mind again, what would be your predicted lineup? Obviously, there's been talk about Sanchez coming back as well.
No. I'll tell you this right now, guys. I am Pochin. If he starts Sanchez, I'm Poch out. That's how I feel. Okay. If he starts Sanchez and we lose, I'm Poch out.
So what would be your start? So what would be your starting up? Would you go with the same lineup against City, or would you make a couple of tweaks to the starting 11? Because
there's no reason to change. It was a great team. It was a great lineup. The players are still fresh. They've had more time to prepare than Liverpool. They just played Luton. We had time to rest and train. I mean, what would you change? I mean, the defense is great. The keeper's great. Your midfield is strong. You spent all that money. Finally, it's starting to come together. Gallagher's taking the reins, initiating the press. Palmer is Palmer. He plays. Sterling finally had a good game. And then, you've got Jackson who brings the energy. So no, I wouldn't change anything, to be honest with you. I think people overthink things. It's a good formula. Why would you change it?
Fair dues, and I keep the only change I'd probably make if I were to make one. Jackson. I wouldn't change a thing. I think Jackson would probably be the only question mark.
Why? Why is he a question mark? You want energy against Liverpool? He is energetic.
Madueke.
Come on, Kev. Madueke had his chance against Palace to prove that he could be consistent. He fumbled the bag. Let's be honest. And you do not want someone to do that against Liverpool, mate. If anyone does what Madueke done against Palace, against Liverpool, it's criminal, mate. And you can afford to make that mistake in the Premier League in terms of, right, okay, well, at least there's another game. You can come back. It's 38 games in a season. Right, let's prove ourselves over the long term. Cup final, mate. No mistakes. Can't accept anything. That's why Mudryk can't play, right? I'm a fan of Mudryk, but ultimately, you want players that you know are going to do a job for you and can win you that game in particular. And if I'm Poch, I'm thinking exactly the same thing that most managers would think in this game. And I would say maybe Jurgen Klopp doesn't think this as much, which is why he hasn't won as much in the past as he has recently. I think Pochettino is going to be a little bit more careful. Don't play players that are going to make stupid mistakes. If you're not going to concede, you're not going to lose, right? And that's the way I'm looking at it. Even if you don't score, if you're not conceding, you're not losing, right? You're still in the game. And ultimately, I'm looking at that penalty shootout with confidence. Petrovic is a penalty specialist. So he's the best thing we've had since Willy Caballero at saving penalties. Everyone wanted to rave about Kepa last season when we were having the worst season ever, and we had a goalkeeper. Guess what? We had a goalkeeper saving shots when we were conceding about 20 every game. Well done, Kepa. Now we've got a keeper with Petrovic who's actually doing well for us under pressure.
He looks brilliant.
And that's what I want to see.
Petrovic just looks... He just looks like a keeper, doesn't he? He looks really good. He's probably been the best keeper we've had since Thibaut Courtois. That's 100%, the level we're talking.
100%.
He's comfortable. And the thing is, as well, with Petrovic, the thing I like about him is against Villa when I went, that game there where that was the game where all that passy stuff was ended. And if he had to hoof it out, he hoofed it out. And that's what I like in a keeper. If in doubt, kick it out. Don't fuck about with it. And look how many goals and chances we've conceded through Sanchez messing around. If in doubt, just boot into roles that we don't. Us fans don't care about it. We'd rather do that than concede chances and concede goals. So Petrovic, he's got to start. But yeah, man, for us, this has got to be the biggest game under the new ownership. I've seen some news about Bowley flying in, coming in to watch the game. How do you feel this can change now? Their mindset. Do you feel like they'll keep the same model after this win and think, because we've won something, keep the same model? Or do you think the transfer window they'll push on to push us to win the Premier League now? How do you feel their mindset will be after winning, if we do win this Carabao Cup?
Well, it's obvious we need more experience. It's obvious we need more quality. That's what we're missing. So if the ownership have any brains, they'll spend some money on some ready-made players. They should have done that in January. They didn't. If they don't do it in the summer, then quite frankly, I mean, our ownership are just clueless, and that's the way I look at it. I'm not against the ownership. I'm very patient, just like I've been patient with the management, right? I think the ownership need time as well. This is our second year with Bowley, Egbarley, Clearlake, all the rest of them. We're going into year 3. So if by year 3 we're not seeing any ambition, I am really going to struggle to support what I'm seeing. I'm still going to support the team, but I'm going to struggle to understand this process.
Well, either you're going to be a Fulham fan if you don't.
Well, I'm going to be a Fulham fan. Yeah, because they got Broha. They've actually got a striker. So, I mean, that's a start. I mean, Can you believe it, Kev? In January, we got rid of our only striker, and then we said to Fulham, you give him game time. You don't even have to pay for the fucking guy.
They've made 100 blunders since they've taken over. And another one being taken on this new guy from Brighton, the 11th acquisition from Brighton. £235 million Brighton have taken from us.
By the way, I mean
or-
Sam Jewell, I will say, Kev, I will say, I mean that actually looks like good business. Like all, I know we're talking about all the silly signings we've made and silly business. It actually looks like good business. I mean, Man United were in for him, and you know you got a new owner, Jim Radcliffe, coming in trying to sign the best, and he's got to be up there because otherwise they wouldn't be trying. So actually, I think Chelsea have done all right. And we've got to remember as well, this isn't a Chelsea signing necessarily. This is a Blue Coast signing. So this is for the multi-club project. So we're not just looking at Chelsea, we're looking at Strasbourg, we're looking at the next club we sign, players that fit all the different clubs. So actually, when you look at it from that perspective, what Brighton do anyway, it's actually a perfect signing in my opinion.
but the thing that strikes me though, like who's directing these board members to go to Brighton and pinch everybody? Because what from me
No,
looking at the outside, what have Brighton ever done to the football game for it to be so much of a fascinating proposal for
they
these
make
board
profit,
members
my friend.
to
They
go
make
and
money.
spend £235 million on it? It's baffling. If they really wanted a football club, they should have just gone and brought Brighton Football Club, because they basically turned us into Brighton, and they like Chelsea and Hove Albion and all that. But leave the negativity out. Obviously, going to this game Sunday, massive game for Chelsea Football Club. Obviously, Roman Abramovich, this was in his second season. His first cup was the Carabao Cup under Jose. Maybe
Yeah.
history repeats itself. Second season, Carabao Cup. Maybe this is the start of something good. But this is the opportunity. The lads cannot wish for a better opportunity. Liverpool have got players out, but we're not taking anything for granted. You've still got to beat what's in front of you. Can they step up and get it? Because I don't want to be sitting here next week in front of you, mate, saying we lost against Liverpool 3 Wembley finals in a row. I've got to go back to work. The All Scouts is there, having to hide behind fucking doors and everything else. We've got to go and do the business Sunday, regardless of anything else. I've looked at the training sessions this week. They look pretty calm, look pretty relaxed, which is good signs. I don't want them to. I think the form going into this game has been good, so that's why they're a bit relaxed. I think if it was poor form, I think there'd be a bit more pressure. But because they've gone and got a draw against City, they've got 2 really good wins prior to that. I think it's more of a relaxed environment. I think it's now, can we go and just do the business? And I'm feeling like we can. My predictive scoreline would be 2-0 to Chelsea.
2-0.
2-0 to
Oh,
Chelsea.
that's
2-0
way
to
too
Chelsea.
convincing.
I'm going to say Cole Palmer, and I'd say Nicholas Jackson. And I swear, I really hope we do, because out of any game, this is like a Champions League final in respect
Telling
of
me, Kev. You're
how
telling me I have to go
it's
to all these
important.
games, mate.
Yeah, I know it's important. It's important. It's important. So, can we do it? Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. I mean, I believe we can. I don't believe we can do it convincingly. You know, I would say it's be similar to City. We'll start well, and then we'll concede chances. Can we stay in the game? That's the question I'm asking. And then when we get into extra time, I mean, that's a different type of football in itself. You got fatigue. You know, obviously, it really. I think it comes down to fitness rather than tactics at that point. Who can actually stay on the pitch for 120 minutes? Oh no! Will they do extra time in the final?
Yeah, it's
They
extra,
will. They will. Yeah.
extra time.
It's just the knockout stages beforehand when they don't do
Yeah,
extra time.
penalties. Yeah.
Yeah. So who can last 120 minutes? Our squad. I mean, if we're going from what we saw in pre-season, we should be fit. You know, and I want to see Chukwuemeka come on. Oh no, he's injured as well, mate, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
mate,
Chukwuemeka's back on.
Chukwuemeka would have been great in this match. So yeah, I just want to see players lasting as long as we can, really, because we know Pochettino's not going to get the best out of Klopp tactically. So really, it's about the players on the pitch. Can they last longer? Does it give Poch a bit more flexibility to freshen it up when he wants to, rather than when he needs to? And yeah, again, 1-1, winning on penalties for Chelsea. That's the way I see it.
Making the right in-game decisions as well, because obviously, like we said, against City, substitutions weren't the best. But maybe he did play for the draw. But a draw is still a good result. So I don't know why everyone's still complaining about he made the wrong choices, Posh flopped. he's gone and got a draw against the world champions, European champions, and English champions.
That's correct.
So why is everybody looking at the glass from an empty angle? Like, we need to start looking at the glass as it's full up. You know what I mean? But fair play to him. But can we continue this into this massive game Sunday?
That's it, man. Well, listen, guys, always a pleasure doing this preview show. If you've been watching for the whole 30 minutes, thank you for watching. As always, we're looking forward to the game. But this time, a little bit more hope than usual, because we actually have a chance of winning a trophy, guys.
Wow.
And this should be normal, but for some reason, it doesn't feel normal. But listen, guys, we're going to leave it there. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do. Check out Match Lingo in the description. Click the link, download the app. It really does help the channel. You've got to be over 18 to do so. And we will see you, hopefully, after we win the Carabao Cup. All the best, guys, and see you soon.